as a minority. Our security, our strength, our well-being in America is interdependent with those of other minorities. This is a Jewish issue.
What's right now at the top of the agenda for you from within the JCPA?
To make sure that immigrants from around the world, particularly those from south of our border, have a chance here. And that debate is so important. We weren't always so welcome, but because we were welcomed enough, we were able to create this amazing Jewish civilization.
In the United States, mark my word, you will have Weimar conditions and you'll have solutions to the Weimar conditions. It will be very similar to what happened in Germany.
You can't stop us. There's too many of us. We're ready. We're breeding by the day. You think we have kids because we like sex? No, we're having kids ready to start this war. Believe me. I got another one on the way, and she'll be strapped up ready for you. Come get it. Come get it.
How soon, by the way? How soon? That depends entirely on how long the power structure in the Western world is going to stay on top. I mean, if you look at East Germany, how quickly it collapsed, or the former Soviet Union, how quickly it collapsed with all its secret services, spy agencies, NKVD and Stasis, it imploded so quickly, I have no idea. But there is no doubt in my mind that if you look at history and the trends in history, the United States is heading in the same direction. And there's only one difference. In the United States, there are enough guns out on the street and enough lawlessness in the public and a revolutionary spirit that founded that republic. This is not Germany, where the only people that had guns were hunters and soldiers and policemen. The United States is armed to the teeth. They have a spirit of revolution in their blood. They are heroes, are people who turned against what they call tyranny and foreign occupiers and so on.
Germany in the 1920s was the most civilized, the peak of Western civilization. In the arts and the sciences, highly democratic, functioning democratic institutions. A decade later, it was the pits of human history.
Because immigration is the future. You cannot work and live in a globalized world, in the middle of the world, in Europe, without immigration and moving populations. The history of Europe, with this long history of nationalism and small countries, is now getting into a crisis. They are not anymore only white or only Swedish or only Portuguese or only German. They are multicultural places in the world.
Peter Hitchens, those who feel disillusioned with the current political system
are right to do so. They have been systematically betrayed, and I see no end to it. There are so many issues which have been visited on this country by an elite of self-selecting, closed-minded people, as well represented here this evening, and actually largely incompetent as well, which have done enormous damage to our way of life. So, for instance, who now has anything to say about the deindustrialization of this country and the destruction of manufacturing jobs under the Thatcher government? Who can reverse it? Who can do anything about it? Who will say anything on this panel about the catastrophe of mass immigration, which has changed this country irrevocably into somewhere completely different from what it was? They won't talk about it. They won't talk seriously about the immense problems of crime and disorder, which affect millions of people in their homes and leave them utterly vulnerable to all kinds of unpleasantness and violence and menace, which they never used to have to undergo.
I think there's a resurgence of anti-Semitism because at this point in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural. And I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. And Jews will be resented because of our leading role.
You attack those who want to control their own border policies. You attack them today as xenophobes. You attack them as extremists. But worst of all, you attack them 3 times for being populists. Isn't that a dreadful thing? The power of the ballot box. When people dare to vote no in referendums, they're populists. When they want to control their own borders, they are populists. I put it to you that populists are actually Democrats.